Hey, good morning to you. Welcome to the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Glad to have you with us right here on this Monday. Yeah, a lot is going on, to say the least, and thank you. Here we go. Yeah. Come on now. Thanks for being with us again at the Tom Taylor Sports Show again on this Monday, September the 21st. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. We're an abbreviated show today. We must step aside at 12 o'clock. We must go pay our respects. We'll tell you about that tomorrow, but we have need to go to a funeral today, so and it's someone that, need to be there and going to be there, should be there. And so as a result, we'll go to about 12 o'clock today and step aside and commence to heading off to the funeral and paying our respects and back tomorrow the full show. But we're going to squeeze in all we can between now and the top of the hour. Again, good morning to you. Our 143rd day together. We dedicate the show to the man who hung on the cross here again to my left, I guess it would be. Here's the verse of the day out of Acts 2, 25, 26, and 27. Because I am in your right hand, you will not be shaken. Because I am at your right hand, you will not be shaken. Therefore, let your heart be glad, your tongue rejoice. Live in hope. I will not abandon you. So, again, that's what our verse of the day is for this, again, Monday, September the 21st. Again, countdown to Christmas, down to 94 days. And again, you have our 143rd day we're rolling through here on this Monday. Where do we start? Let's see. Let's start with NASCAR. Be a good one to go with. Going to be checking in with Dave Ongie. He'll join us coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Bob's going to join us from Book Lovers Warehouse. We're going to try and squeeze in a quiz show as well. All that in 1 hour, plus everything going on. So, did you see? Of course, Denny Hamlin won the race. And I say, did you see it? It's almost like an after fact because had a little brush up, a little problem. Now, Kevin Harvick was running his mouth last week about Joe Gibbs Racing and said, quote, we're going to pound him in the ground. Talking about Kevin Harvick, who vowed 4 days ago not to be intimidated by Joe Gibbs' recent muscle, Joe Gibbs Racing. We're going to, quote, pound them in the ground during the chase. Well, instead, it was not Joe Gibbs Racing he got mixed up with. It got ugly between him and Jimmy Johnson. And so contact with Jimmy Johnson on the restart caused a tire rub on Harvick's car. He thought the issue had fixed itself, but his left rear tire blew two laps later, and he was in the wall. Harvick drove the car to the garage for repairs, and his anger towards Jimmy Johnson was evident as he headed back on the track. His finger pointed out his window at Johnson's crew. 57 laps off the pace and second to last in the field. He ain't happy. Johnson went to Harvick's motorhome after the race to speak to Harvick. Harvick walked out of the bus, shoved Johnson in the chest with a closed fist. This is nothing compared to what they used to do at NASCAR, where they'd have all-out brawls and throwing hay balers and all this. So he shoved him in the chest. Harvick was separated from the six-time champion. Johnson pointed at Harvick as he was restrained from getting at Johnson a second time. Harvick wanted to go out and have another piece of him. Harvick's wife, Delana, exited a waiting car to walk over to the bickering drivers, and Harvick eventually retreated to the limousine and drove off. So he's upset, should be, the defending champion in a hole now. He's got to win one of these next two races because he is rock bottom dead last, or was next to last in the field yesterday, 57 laps down. So Johnson rubs him and has a flat or a blowout, hits the wall, drove the car to the garage for repairs, pointed his finger on the track at Johnson's crew. Johnson apparently went to his motorhome after the race to mend fences. Harvick, quite the opposite, walked out of the bus, shoved Johnson in the chest with a closed fist. Harvick was separated from the six-time champion. Johnson pointed at Harvick as he was restrained from getting at Johnson a second time. So, bad blood as they head off to the next stop. And then Harvick's wife, Delana, had to reach in there and separate the boys. So this is the round one. It's going to get good. Round two will be in New Hampshire coming up this weekend, the Sylvania 300. So anyway, this is the opening round, of course, as we told you. And not a good start for Kevin Harvick, the defending champ of said NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Here is your top 10. Denny Hamlin moves on to the next round. In fact, he says, I can coast now, relax over the next two, which will be New Hampshire and Dover. Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, there again, say what you want. Look at the top 10 from yesterday. Where are Joe Gibbs Racing? Number 1, number 2, number 5. I got too many fingers up. 1, 2, 5, and 9 out of the top 10. So, old Kev can say what he wants, but proof's in the pudding. Hamlin wins it. Carl Edwards' teammate second. Kurt Busch was leading the race, and at last caution, about 10 laps out, he had to settle for a third-place finish. Ryan Newman, great run for Rocket Ryan, finishing fourth. Kenseth, fifth. Joey Logano, sixth. Kyle Larson, who's not in the chase, but finished a strong seventh. Brad Keselowski, eighth. Kyle Busch, ninth. And Eric Almirola, 10th. Of course, Busch won the Xfinity Series race on Saturday. So they just keep on keeping on at Joe Gibbs Racing. And Harvick finishes next to last in said event. So, again, they'll move on. We'll have more to say about this tomorrow. We've got a full show. But, again, Harvick not happy with Jimmy Johnson, and apparently Jimmy Johnson not happy with Kevin Harvick. So, shall be interesting moving forward. I like it. Mix it up a little bit. These guys are too, let your yah-yahs out. Now the pressure's on. I like it. So, we're going to see some tempers, and, what's the old saying Dad used to tell me? What's down in the well comes up in the bucket. You're going to see folks are who they are, and in this case, you got your man Harvick getting a little worked up. And so, good stuff. Denny Hamlin wins the race, and some good driving by all these guys. We always say where Danica finishes because she's the lone female. She qualified 25th, and she finishes 26th in the race. So, again, Hamlin brings home the checkers for the chase. He leads it going off, as we said, to the Sylvania 300 at Loudon, New Hampshire, coming up this Sunday. Tom Taylor Sports Show, thanks for being with us. Had a big football game Friday night. Let me just say, we just taped the Stacey Carter show. It'll come out Wednesday at noon. We taped it this morning in the Fieldhouse, the Topper Nation Center of Excellence, presented by Blue Lizards, where we taped the show. It'll be out at noon on Wednesday on TomTaylorSports.com. And Stacey, very complimentary. Wasn't the easiest show to do because you get beat 52-17, but I'm one of those guys you can find positives out of everything, and we did. Point being, but at this 37 years, I told, in fact, on the broadcast Friday night, and it's still out there, by the way. Go to TomTaylorSports.com and listen to the audio cast of the ball game Friday night. But at this 37 years calling ball games, that's probably one of the best teams I've ever seen on any level I've been on. I've been on college, I've done college play-by-play, and I've done certainly high school, which I'm doing now. But tell you what, Maryville's a complete package. Now, science will help them at times to look better maybe than they are, but at the end of the day, they're a very, very, very good football team, no question. And they came off that bus with an air of confidence Friday night with good reason. 12 titles in 17 seasons, and I don't know who else is out there in the state, but I see no one at this point that would challenge them. And I can't say that. I haven't seen all the teams play, but I'm just telling you they're very, very good. And I'm not sure how you beat them. They used, at one point, 12 different running backs Friday night. 12. Play sets, I think I counted. I was trying to count them in my head as we went. 12 different formations. They used 2 quarterbacks. 1 throws, 1 runs. They're both excellent. They're huge. They fly to the football. They're very athletic. The kicking game is, very, very solid. Not too many chinks in the armor for Maryville High School, I can tell you that. And so as a result, they beat down a pretty good football team at Science Hill. Of course, Justin Bedard gets hurt. His status unknown for the game on Friday night at Daniel Boone. If I'm a betting man, and I said this Friday night during the broadcast, he won't be back this week. They got to have him for the conference race. Number one, he's got to be healthy. That's first and foremost for Bedard. I don't care who you're playing this week. He's got to be healthy. He was diagnosed with a concussion, which is very, very shaky and very, very dangerous, obviously. So he's got to be 100% first and foremost because there's more to life than Science Hill football. And you know that and I know that. So he's got to be ready to go. Number two, if he is ready to go, they're playing Boone this Friday night. It's a non-conference game. The next one will be next Friday at Hardin Valley, which is a conference game, which is looming to be a very, 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 very big ball game. So, in fact, this is the last non-conference week for everybody. From here on out, it is conference football every Friday night. So, Justin Bedard, if I'm Stacey Carter, and I'm not even going to pretend to be the coach. But if it's Coach Taylor, Bedard sits this week. We'll roll the dice with whomever and try and get him ready for him down the line when in the Big East Conference race. So, but first and foremost, in my mind, as number one as a human being, more so than a coach, he's got to be healthy. You don't want this kid because it was a dangerous. If you go back and watch the highlights, and you'll see it. on the show on Wednesday. He goes airborne, gets spun around like a top. He's about 6, 7 feet high off the ground. He's running down the field on the far sideline, goes airborne to try and hit that pylon for the touchdown. He got upended while he's in the air like this with a football. He gets upended, spun around, comes down on his face down. Of course, you think neck, you think all kinds of bad things. He laid face down for probably 7 or 8 minutes, got up, walked off in his own power. But I said then, and I'll say now, I don't think he knew he was in Johnson City. He may have thought he was in Roanoke or, I don't know, Tallahassee or somewhere, because he took a shot. So first off, make sure he's okay. Number 2, get him ready for the games that are really going to matter. Not that Boone doesn't, but it is a non-conference game. And there's a lot of football left to be played. See, conference, you've got, of course, Hardin Valley in 2 weeks. No particular order, William Blount, Jefferson County, Knox Beard, and Dobbins Minute. You got 5 more conference games. So very critical to make sure Bedard's ready to go. But anyway, Maryville High School, hats off to them. They are a heck of a football program, and I see why, and they deserve it. But here's the thing, too. Would meet a nicer bunch of people. I mean, they are class. And, you know, when you're winning, and you are a winner, you don't have to be a butthole. Pardon my French. You can be class and walk with swagger because you've earned it. And they are nothing but the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. Coaching staff, you know, everybody I met that had Maryville on was nothing but, I mean, there wasn't any arrogance or cockiness. And, you know, when you've won 12 state championships in 17 years, you don't have to walk around and be arrogant. It kind of speaks for itself, you know. So, anyway, hats off to a program that is solid from top to bottom. Now, Dobbins Minute will get them next Thursday night on that Thursday night, big showdown rival football game, whatever they call it down in the Maryville area. So, they'll get them next Thursday a week, and DB's off a week to prepare for them. But, again, a solid football team at Maryville High School. So, dressed out 96, had, 23 seniors, so they got a bunch coming back for next year as well. Tom Taylor Sports Show. Again, we'll have the game Friday night. I've already talked to Danny, and we're going to be there Friday night, again, inside, ready to go, again, at Daniel Boone High School, ready for the Hilltoppers and the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. Polls come out tomorrow. You got to figure Science Hill's going to drop, and you got to figure Science Hill, their big win over Hardin Valley, or rather Dobbins Minute, will move up. So polls are out tomorrow. We'll let you know about that on our Tuesday edition of the show. An abbreviated show. We're going to be with you until about noon today. Then we're going to step aside. Again, we have a funeral to go to, and we have to do this, need to do it, and want to do it, quite frankly. So we apologize for cutting the show short. But, again, in the big scheme of things, do you pay respects for someone you've known for 20 years, or do you skip that funeral and do another 2-hour block of sports programming? We're going to park the show and go do what I need to do. So, anyway, back tomorrow. We'll be with you for about another 45 minutes or so. College football. Holy tamale. What a weekend. How about Fournette? Remember that name at LSU. That guy can flat tote the mail. He made Auburn look like a bunch of middle schoolers. Man, oh, man, what a game. LSU. Remember I told you last week going into that ball game, LSU had beaten them 7 times in a row at LSU. Now it's 8. And the average difference in the scoring, they've been beating them by over 22 points a game. Well, guess what? Final score is 45-21. As a result of that, LSU jumps big time, and they should. That was a big win. And so they're now into the top 10 in the country in the Associated Press college football poll. Ohio State, not real impressive. They beat Northern Illinois, but it wasn't a blowout, but he stretched the imagination. And so, and of course, there was some quarterback shuffling there at Ohio State. Again, I'll go back. I'm not Urban Meyer, not going to question this guy. I can't question him for his success. I'm going to go back to the same thing I told you 6 weeks ago when we started talking college football. The guy that took it, there should be, for me, if I'm Urban Meyer, there is no quarterback controversy at Ohio State, which apparently there is. And I think it's affecting the chemistry of the team to a certain point. Northern Illinois gave them a game. I mean, that's no disrespect to them, but come on. But be that as it may, the guy that won me the national championship, it's your football team. The other 3 guys got hurt. You came in and did exactly what we asked you as the number 4 quarterback in a 4-quarterback system, and you not only excelled, you took me and helped me win a national championship last year. You are my starting quarterback. Why would there be any other – I mean, there is no other debate. These other guys got to wait their turn. You know, they got hurt. They can't help that. What wasn't their desire, but they did. They got hurt. So why would I go back and even make it a controversy? And he did, and that's his business, and his success ratio speaks for itself as far as what Urban Meyer accomplishes on the football field. But I'm second-guessing him on this one because the chemistry of the team, the guy that wins me the national championship is the guy that's going to be my quarterback till further notice. Now, if he stumbles and falters, that's a whole different story. But going into the season, I'm going to tell you right up front, clear cut. Out of 4 quarterbacks, the other 3 got hurt. I asked him to come step up and play, and he did to a phenomenal level. He won the national championship for me. He's my quarterback. So anyway, they're number 1, but they are not unanimous. Michigan State up to number 2. Ole Miss by beating Alabama. Man, what a game that was. Alabama faltering, 5 turnovers. Very uncharacteristic for a Nick Saban team. Ole Miss, by virtue of that win, jumping from 15th up to 3rd this week. TCU at number 4, Baylor at number 5, Notre Dame up to number 6, Georgia stays at number 7, LSU, as we said, jumps into the top 10 at number 8, UCLA at number 9, and Florida State actually dropped with a win. Saying, I don't get that. They go to Boston College. They struggle, but they beat them on the road, both 2-0 teams, and so Florida State, by doing that, goes down a notch in the polls. UCLA went up a notch after beating BYU. And the big jump, again, was, of course, LSU jumping from 13th to 8th. Second 10, Clemson 11th. Alabama drops all the way to 12th. 13th, Oregon. 14th, Texas A&M. 15th ranked is Oklahoma this week. They pick up a win and go up a notch. Arizona jumps 4. They're number 16th this week. Northwestern jumps 6. They're up to number 17. They win over Duke. Utah, Southern Cal drops. They're the biggest drop. They dropped 13 slots. Actually, Auburn's the biggest dropper. Southern Cal drops from 6th all the way down to 19th. Georgia Tech rounds out the top 20. Then comes Stanford, who was not ranked last week. BYU, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, and Missouri. Auburn, nowhere to be found. They drop like a rock. I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure you knock them all the way out of the poll. And again, polls are polls, but they got beat by a team, Ole Miss, now number 3 in the country. They were ranked last week too. So why do you punish them by knocking them all the way out of the top 25? I don't agree with that, but they didn't ask me. Some of these other teams, again, playing some cream puffs, but here's a team that got beat. Auburn got beat by a legitimate contender in the SEC West, obviously, LSU. Alabama drops, 10 notches? I don't agree with that. I still think they're a top 10 football team. They got beat by a good Ole Miss football team. So, don't agree with the polls, but they didn't ask me. Ohio State, Michigan State, Ole Miss, TCU, Baylor, Notre Dame, Georgia, LSU, UCLA, and Florida State are the top 10. Now, before we go to the break, talk to Bob from Book Lovers Warehouse. Got him on today. Which do you put more credence in? The Associated Press, it's comprising of sports writers and media guys like myself that make up that one. Or do you go the Amway Top 25 Coaches Poll? This is picked by the coaches who are there every day in the hot seat. Of course, they got buddies. I don't know if they do buddy votes. I guess they do. I'm going to pick my buddy over there because he's a good guy and his team's doing pretty good, so I'm going to vote for him. Here's how they look at it. Coaches Poll. Maybe for my money, I would go this one. The Amway Top 25. Ohio State, TCU, Michigan State, Baylor, and Ole Miss are the top 5 there. In fact, I'm going to go with this one. Amway Top 25. This is from the coaches poll. I guess they vote on Sunday nights. Ohio State, Texas Christian or TCU, Michigan State, Baylor, Ole Miss, and Georgia. Then comes Florida State, Notre Dame, LSU, and Clemson. I can live with that. They put Alabama down at number 12. I don't agree with that. But they didn't ask me. So I don't think Alabama's the 12th ranked team. I think they're better than that. I don't think they're number 2. They proved that. But I don't think they're worthy of being knocked out of the top 10. But I look up and down through, then who would I move? Probably Notre Dame. I'd put them out of the top 10 and put Alabama, probably 10th. I'd shuffle some around, but Alabama is better than a 12th ranked team. And they got beat by a good team, Ole Miss, who's now coaches poll number 5. Then you go Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Arizona, Utah, Southern Cal, 18th, Northwestern, 19th, Georgia Tech, top 20. Then Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Missouri, Stanford, and Auburn, they leave them in at number 25. They dropped 15 from last week. So, and I'm going to go with this one. This is my official poll from here on out, the Amway Top 25 poll. By the way, I use Amway products. They're excellent. And so Amway Top 25 poll will be what I'm going to go with from here on out. So anyway, that's what's going on in college football. Some big games this week. Of course, Tennessee, it's Gator week. Enough said. They'll head down to the Swamp on Saturday, 3:30 kickoff, take on the Gators, who survived a not-so kind of a lackluster affair up in Kentucky, but they got a big win. Kentucky's defense pretty good. Florida's defense even better. Be interesting to see Saturday Florida's defense against Tennessee's offense. So, and defense wins your football game. So on paper, I would go with, at this point, being in the Swamp and Florida's defense pretty stout. And there's some holes to fill, obviously, in Tennessee's offensive set. Well, they scored 55, wasn't it 55? It's Western Carolina. Were they 0-30, I read, against ranked 10 or against BCS teams? Nah. So anyway, Florida and Tennessee Friday or Saturday. It's Gator week, of course. Florida week at Tennessee, and there's folks already jacked up talking about it. So enough said on that one. Quick break. We'll be right back. We'll check in with Bob from Book Lovers Warehouse. Also later in the show, Dave Ongie joins us. Again, our buddy from the John C. Press. He has lots to say about several topics. By the way, the ball cap I have on, the Raiders. How about it? 37-33. Derek Carr takes him down the field and wins a big football game. Late stages, that's what you want from a quarterback in the clutch. And so the Raiders win at 37-33. They were down 33-30. He takes them with 26 seconds to go, hits the tight end over the middle. And say what you want, that's not the way the Raiders have been playing in the years past. So they found a way to win, and Carr did it for them. And so now we head to Cleveland this Sunday to whip up on Manziel and the Browns at the Dog Pound. Raiders are on the move. Print those Super Bowl tickets. We'll be back on the Tom Taylor Sports Show.
At Bristol Orthotics and Prosthetics, they treat thousands of patients each year dealing with diabetes and its effects. Diabetes overtaking our nation and leaving a path of destruction behind. Through wound care, office visits, and preventive care, they see most of their patients after a problem arises. Using diabetic footwear such as shoes and inserts, a great way to prevent or prolong skin breakdown and amputation. At Bristol Orthotics and Prosthetics, they use only custom molds from patient mold inserts, which further ensure a great recovery, or better yet, prevents a wound from happening. They use custom molded shoes, bracing, custom inserts, and extra depth diabetic shoes to prevent wounds or other skin issues from beginning. Call today, 1-800-524-4447. 39 years, 6 locations, 1 family. Bristol Orthotics and Prosthetics. 1-800-524-4447.
It's Friday night at 7 o'clock. You've been involved in a car accident. You may be out of state on vacation or just a few miles from home. What do? Who do you call? At Farmers Insurance Group, one call is all you have to make. Hello, this is Jim Klein, an agent with Farmers Insurance. It's called One and Done. You don't have to wait till Monday morning to file a claim. You can make the initial call, and we'll begin right away to help you. We assist you in moving the vehicle to a certified repair shop, getting you set up with rental car, and informing your agent. Then here at the staff at Jim Klein Farmers Insurance, we follow the claim through to the end. It's that easy. One and Done. We're your one and done location for all your insurance needs. Auto, home, life, commercial, workers' comp, and bonds. We can help you with all your insurance needs. Give me a call today, Jim Klein Farmers Insurance at 247-5400, your one and done location in Kingsport, 247-5400.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
And we appreciate our buddy Tommy Wyman and the folks. He's back, I believe. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we get our buddy Bob on the old show here on this Monday, September the 21st. Yeah, nice outside, too. Here's one ringy-dingy.
Good morning, Mr. Tom.
There he is, our buddy Mr. Bob, again live with us on the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Good morning, sir. Let's go right to it. We're 94 days away from Christmas. And, again, let's talk about the trade. Now's a good time to get that trade and get some trade built up for the holidays. Tell me about that.
we tried this last year, and I think it was a big hit. If you have any excess trade, and a lot of people were putting a year's amount of time. People inherit 4,000 or 5,000 books, and they bring them in, and so that's an amazing amount of trade. But most people have a handful or a couple of boxes full of trade. Bring them in. If we can use them, we'll give you a trade ticket. The 1st of December, if you want to. We're not going to do this unless you want to. We'll convert anything you've got on a trade ticket to a gift certificate. So I think giving a person a gift certificate to a used bookstore is a great way to celebrate the holidays and to, expand the use of used books, because when a book sells for $30, a year later it's worth $4. And so if you've inherited a bunch of books, bring them in. If we can use them, we'll give you a trade ticket. And 1st December, bring them in, and we'll convert them to gift certificates. My son's bought a new printer. He's going to do a beautiful gift certificate and thanking people for celebrating the holidays with us, and it'll get some new customers in the store. It'll get some new people in the store for it. That's where we come out ahead on the deal. So I figure once a person comes in the store, they'll love it.
You got it. They will, because there's so much there. Again, over 6,000 square feet, over 200,000 titles. Used bookstore between John City and Jonesboro, right there beside Harbor Freight Tools and that particular shopping center. We're talking to Bob from Book Lovers Warehouse, one of our great sponsors. And, Bob, you talk about the weather changing a little bit. It's going to be getting a little cooler. It's supposed to. Fall comes in here on Wednesday officially, so be a good time to go in and load up on some books. And, again, on a cool night, sit back, get yourself something warm to sip on, and sit down or curl up, whatever the case, and read a book. It's a good book reading weather, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great book reading weather. Curl up next to the fireplace. Turn off the television. Find something you haven't read, a writer you haven't read in a number of years, and just lose yourself in the adventure, the romance, or the new knowledge, we have all kinds of books on Christianity and every religion. You can study religion. You can study just about anything, or you can just use the reading to get yourself and travel all over the world through the mind of the writer of the book. And there's some wonderful books out there, just some amazing books. So, yeah, come in and see what we got. Bring in some books. I'm also looking for, I call them volunteers, but what we do is we give them trade, or we give them gift certificates, and they can use them in the store. So if you're a big reader, you're retired, you have nothing to do, and you can commit 4 or 5 hours a week, that's what we'd like. If somebody commit at least 5 hours a week, but when we opened the store, we had 9 people volunteering to set up the store, and one of them has been there ever since, and that was Kenesha. And she started at 14 years old, and now she's 24. So, it's a great place to work. If you ever think of working in a place where everything in there is something you'll love, this is the kind of place for somebody to come in and volunteer. And we pay you in books, we pay you in gift certificates, whatever you want, and it'll just help the big influx of books we get just before Christmas.
Talking to Bob again from Book Lovers Warehouse. Before I let you go, Dave Ongie is going to join us coming up in the John City Press. Talk a little sports here in a few minutes. Before I let you go, what's been the big seller? What have folks been buying since we visited last week?
Well, a couple of things. I've understood that records are making a big comeback. This is the first year since 1986 or 87, I think it was, that they're selling more big albums. I've got just an amazing amount of albums. I've also, at the warehouse, I've got about 10,000 more albums. I'm going to start bringing in 1,000 a week until Christmas time, and I'm putting them in sleeves. So that's beginning to become a big seller, because not only do you get music, you get a work of art. You get the picture of that artist. In a lot of cases, a lot of these artists aren't around anymore. And albums new are selling from $10 to $15, maybe $20 if they're a double album. But in the store, they're $2, $3, $4. So it's just a neat thing to buy, to hang on your wall, or to give as a gift to somebody. But also, the other thing that's selling big is people are doing two things. They're getting stuff for projects for the cold weather. They're going to put an addition in the basement, or they're going to, put a new bathroom in the house, or something like that. We've got all kinds of books on that. And the thing that sells all the time is romance, mystery, sci-fi, and fantasy. And those four things probably sell about 80% of everything we have in the store. So if you like that stuff, that's the stuff we've got, and we've got a lot of it.
There you go, and it's all right there again, open 7 days a week. Bob, what are the hours you open, my friend, at Book Lovers Warehouse?
Okay, we open up 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll stay open as late as you stay. I had two young girls that stayed a half an hour. Finally, they didn't look like they could make up their mind. I said, listen, if you guys got any time tomorrow, I'll stay as long as you want, but if you can find something, please go ahead and do it, because we closed a half hour ago. Anyway, and they went and picked up 3 or 4 books each, and they went and checked out, and we'll stay as long as you want. And we appreciate you coming in. And if you come in late, we love it, because a lot of people, that's the only time to get a chance to shop.
There you go. Hey, great job, my friend. Sell. Back with you on Friday, getting ready to head into a big weekend. And we'll be officially in the fall on Friday when we visit again. So have a great week. I'll talk to you then, all right?
Okay, and remember, it's snowing in Montana.
You got it.
It's heading this way.
It's heading this way. Get your snow shovels out, your boots. It's snowing in Montana. There you go. Bob, great job. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you Friday.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Super job right there, our buddy Bob from Book Lovers Warehouse. Again, open 7 days a week, right beside Harbor Freight Tools is where they are. Can't miss them. And they're open again 7 days a week, right beside Harbor Freight Tools between Johnson City and Jonesboro. Tom Taylor Sports Show, again, an abbreviated show. We have to step aside today and attend to business, going to a funeral. So I'll be back with a full show coming up tomorrow. But we're going to stay on here for a little while longer and talk a little sports. And my man's on the second ringy-dingy. Our buddy Dave Ongie is due to join us here coming up.
Hello?
There's our buddy Dave Ongie again with us live with the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Just fine, sir. I don't know where to start. There's so much going on. I love it. It's a great time of the year to be doing a sports show, I can tell you that. I guess I started the show with NASCAR, a little brush up with Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson yesterday. I thought that was interesting. Hamlin won the race, but again, Harvick not happy. Johnson went to his motorhome trying to resolve things, and Harvick shoved him in the chest with a closed fist and fingers pointing. They got separated the second time, won a lunge back to Johnson again, so should be a lot of fun. We head off to New Hampshire this week, and what's your take on round one of the chase?
Well, it's something, if you think about those altercations, we haven't seen anything like that all season long. I think we were talking about that last week, just how, there hasn't been much of that. But when the chase starts, it completely changes it, because so much rides on every single race. And, Harvick finishing 42nd now is in a situation where he knows he's probably going to have to win one of the next 2 races in order to make the cut. So, when something happens to you in the chase, and you don't really have a chance to rebound from it, that's what really makes the emotion boil over. And I think that's what we saw the other day. And, I'm still a little bit puzzled, because everybody, and I read that too, where they said, it was a push with a closed fist. I don't know what that's about. He punched him right in the chest. That's what happened right there, just from watching the video. But so it's a little puzzling why they describe it that way. I've seen a lot of punches in my life, and that was the one right there. Him right in the solar plexus, as they say. So, that was interesting to watch. And, after the race, a lot of things started coming out about how, Rodney Childers, Harvick's crew chief, was upset because he said, we've spent all year long trying to help these Hendrick guys, fix their cars, but we've been running well. And then what do we get for it? He runs up the track and hits us in the chase, after we've helped him all year long. So a little bit of a division there between those two teams, which are associated with each other, and it'll be interesting to see how that works out going forward.
Absolutely. Of course, the late Dale Earnhardt Sr. would say it's just racing. But Hamlin, I mean, look at this domination, too. We're talking to Dave Ongie. Top 10 yesterday. 4 out of the top 10 came out of Joe Gibbs. Hamlin, Edwards second, Kenseth fifth, Kyle Busch ninth. So say what you want. Joe Gibbs Racing starts the chase pretty strong for all 4 drivers in the top 10, including one that won it in Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see how that all shook out there. And obviously the Hendrick cars ran better. You know, we were wondering last week whether they were just holding off for the chase. And you know, a track like Chicago is a good gauge to see, you know, where everybody's at horsepower wise. And you know, it wasn't a situation where the Gibbs cars, you know, were running up front while everybody else was experimenting. You know, they legitimately have the horsepower and have what it takes to be able to run up front and compete, and they proved that yesterday. So, you know, it's going to be interesting down the stretch here to see who's able to do what. And you know, for the Gibbs cars, they kind of got through that first race clean. Of course, with Hamlin, you know, he was able to get the win, so he automatically advances into the next round, and he can relax a little bit these next couple of weeks, and I'm sure he'll be happy about that.
Yeah.
You know, you go to New Hampshire next, and there's a track where Kyle Busch runs really well, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, they go to New Hampshire, then go to Dover for this first round, and then, as you said, some folks are going to be sent home as far as the chase. Still going to be racing, but they're going to be out of contention to win the championship. Talking to Dave Ongie, our buddy from the John City Press. Friday night, we saw a buzzsaw. I said on the air then, I said it this morning before I called you. Been doing this 37 years. I've not seen a football team like Maryville. Now, I'm sure they got some weaknesses, but they didn't have many Friday night. They ran, we counted up here on the team 12 different running backs, 2 different quarterbacks. I mean, they dressed out 96 guys, and they only have 23 seniors, so you can tell it's a fairly young football team. And I don't know about you, my friend, because you were there. I thought Maryville was a complete package, and they beat a pretty good Scienceville football team rather handily. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, the one thing I think and I felt like everything got deflated when Bedard went out of the game, you know, on that first drive. And, you know, and I thought everybody there kind of got robbed of the opportunity to see what Scienceville could do against them. Obviously, they got off to a bad start going down 10-0 with the onside kick. But, you know, when Bedard got on the field, Scienceville moved the football, and they moved it with ease, you know, down the field. And then when he tried to dive into the end zone and then went out with the injury, you know, you're bringing in the backup quarterbacks, and the whole game plan's out the window. So we didn't really get to see what Scienceville's offense looked like against them. I think, you know, from my take and what Stacey Carter said, he said, you know, seeing that first 6 minutes, we think we match up with them. We think we can play with them, you know. And, you know, obviously the defense got tired as that game went on. And it probably would have been a high-scoring game. I think Scienceville would have been in it. It would have been a far cry away from that 45-0 game in the playoffs last year, obviously. You know, Scienceville was more competitive, and they've taken some steps forward. Just with Bedard going out early, it's hard to tell how far along Scienceville's come, but they're a little bit closer to Maryville than they were before.
Absolutely. Of course, in the second half, you're looking for positives. It was a 14-14 ball game in the second half. Now, granted, Maryville had a lot of subs in, but still, Scienceville didn't quit. I think they found themselves a backup quarterback, given, again, tape Stacey's show this morning for Tom Taylor Sports. It'll be out on Wednesday, and the coach's show we do each week. And he said earlier this morning his status is unknown for Friday night. They're still checking him out. And so if he can't go, I would assume Jalen Adams will get the nod to be the starting quarterback. But I guess if you can take a positive out of that, Dave, you found, you know, he started a little rough, but he finished strong. I think you found yourself a backup quarterback in Jalen Adams for Scienceville in the game Friday night.
Yeah, you know, with Adams, it looked like the game was moving about 1 million miles an hour when he first got in there, you know, in the first half. And as the game went on, it's amazing how quick he adjusted to the speed of it. He threw the ball well. He runs the ball well. And I think, you know, maybe in the future we look back at this and say, well, you know, it was a blessing, the fact that this kid was able to come out and get some game experience, not only against Maryville, but, you know, he probably or may possibly get to play this Friday night, depending on Bedard's status. And that's invaluable. You know, as Coach Carter said, he can't get this in JV games. You know, this has to come on Friday night, this type of experience. You can't simulate it anywhere else, you know, being under those lights on Friday. And, you know, just invaluable for him and for the program moving forward. And really, really an impressive kid, and I think he's the quarterback of the future.
I think he is, too. He's only a sophomore, so he took his lumps Friday night. The first snap, he fumbled the ball out of the shotgun. Well, I would have, too. in that situation. We all would have been a little uptight, standing over there knowing, okay, didn't think you were going to get in the game at all. All of a sudden, boom, your lead dog gets hurt in Bedard, and it's like, go in the game. And yeah, Stacy said the game plan they had obviously went out the window with the injury to Bedard. So I think Jalen Adams showed me something. I like Moorlegan. This guy came by from missing field goals earlier in the season to get a 27-yarder against Maryville. Then he's perfect in point afters and was kicking them into the end zone in the kickoff. So I think he had a grow-up game for sure. And then, of course, Bryson Tolley, 6 solos, 5 assists, a tackle for loss, 2 tackles for loss for negative 19 yards, and a quarterback sack for negative 9 yards. Tolley only a junior. This kid, you'll see him somewhere on Saturday in big time. He can play. So Hilltoppers lose, but again, I think they win some too. They get ready for Daniel Boone Friday night. We'll talk more about that later in the week. We're talking to our buddy Dave Ongie again. He joins with the John City Press. We got more to talk about, the NFL coming up here. But first, let's talk college football. Wow, what a weekend. Alabama goes down to Ole Miss, 43-37. Ohio State struggles, to say the least, against Northern Illinois. Let's see. You've got LSU knocking off Auburn, buried them, 45-21, 8th straight win for LSU at home against Auburn. So a lot of shuffling in this poll this week. What's your take on college football after this weekend?
Yeah, just, an interesting week. And, I think it's just tough to tell with Ohio State. I know Ohio State and Michigan State are number 1 and 2 in the poll, and that's the first time that's happened, I think, in 8 years that the Big Ten has had 2 teams up on top of it. And, but of course, the performance they had last week, not very good. They, it could be a matter of them being a little bit bored against lesser competition, but, that's no excuse. You got to go out and beat people, whoever's in front of you every week. So it'll be interesting going forward to see how that Ohio State team handles things. Of course, that SEC West, week in and week out, people are going to beat people, and it's going to be tough, and it's one of those things that people in the SEC, say, well, we have to play such tough competition every week, and it's going to hurt us, and it's going to knock some teams out of the playoffs that would be capable of winning, a national championship. But on the other side of that, whoever comes out of that SEC West and goes to the SEC title game, that's going to be a team that is as battle-tested as anybody in the country, and that's going to be a team I think you look at as being a favorite to end up winning the national championship.
I think you're exactly right. We're talking to Dave Ongie again. At SEC West is a very, very tough conference. Biggest jump, I think, in the polls this week. Ole Miss goes up 12 notches from number 15 to number 3. LSU jumps 5 notches. Let's see. You have dropping. Of course, Alabama drops 10. Southern Cal drops 13 notches. And Auburn drops completely out of the top 25. So there is some shuffling going on. You look at Florida, Tennessee. I don't know if I'll get back to you on the show by Saturday. Tennessee at Florida. Again, they got a pretty stout defense down in Gainesville. What's your take on this game coming up on Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be. I think the key to this is going to be Tennessee's run game, which is very, very good. They've got a couple backs who can really move the ball, and the key for that football game will be if Tennessee is able to sustain drives down there. It's going to be, even though they have some more experience than they've had in the past, Tennessee's still a really, really young football team, and that's a loud place to go play. That's a tough place to play a football game, regardless of how good Florida is. Because their fans are going to turn up and they're going to be loud, and so it's up to whether or not they can sustain drives on the ground, kind of take the crowd out of the game, control the time of possession, and then score points. Because if you do that, Florida's a team that they're going to be tough if they're playing from ahead. But I don't think that offense is far enough along yet to where they can play from behind and come up with enough explosive plays to be able to come back and beat Tennessee if Tennessee gets ahead. So it'll be interesting that running game has to work, and Tennessee has to do some things good early to kind of get the crowd out of the game, and they've got a good chance of going down there and winning.
For Dave Ongie, is Ohio State still the number 1 team in the country, or would you pick somebody else right now?
You have to go with Ohio State right now, and it's a situation, I think, once we get farther into the season, if there's a team in the West that, winds up going through and they're knocking people off and they're running the table in that division, as Ohio State gets into their league schedule and starts playing the likes of Purdue and Northwestern and whoever they have ahead, there's some pretty weak teams in the Big Ten, and if Ohio State doesn't go out there and impress during that, I think they get jumped at some point. The good news in college football now is you don't have to worry as much about the polls because, there's going to be 4 teams on the top who are going to get to go to the playoffs. And, it's not like it used to be where you had to be 1 or 2 or else you got left out of the national title game. Now you just have to be in that top 4, and then you have a chance to go out there and prove it on the field.
We're talking to our buddy Dave Ongie, again, sports writer with the Johnson City Press, does a great job. He joins us every Monday here on the Tom Taylor Sports Show. And let's take a look at the NFL. Big week yesterday. A lot of some surprises, some not so surprises. I guess, gosh, where do you start? Maybe in Cleveland, Johnny Manziel had a heck of a ball game. He doubled up Tennessee 28-14. Marcus Mariota did not have a good day. Your take on that ball game to kind of start our NFL visit?
Yeah, that's when you look at rookies in the NFL, what you've seen now, you've seen the absolute best of Mariota, and you've seen the worst of Mariota. And they came one week after the other. And that's what's going to happen. That's what the league does to you. Tennessee's offensive line didn't have a very good game. And, Mariota was left exposed. He got hit a lot, and he, as a result, didn't look as comfortable in the pocket and didn't throw the ball as accurately. And Cleveland, Manziel, he's had a year under his belt. He's had a lot of tough trials, but he came out of it and had a good game, and I think he's won the starting job there in Cleveland, and it'll be interesting going forward to see how good he is.
Some of the other games, Tampa Bay beat the Saints. Again, New Orleans right now, the Saints are 0-2. Minnesota over Detroit, 26-16 was the final there. The Vikings, what Peterson do? Peterson rushed it 29 times, 134 yards. So after a shaky start in San Francisco, I guess we see the real Adrian Peterson back as, again, big rushing day for Peterson from Minnesota yesterday in the win over the Lions.
Yeah, he really came out, and it just kind of took a week. Even though he's a veteran, been at it a long time. And the preseason games can't really get you ready, for that, because the defenses you look at there are pretty vanilla. They don't show much, and I think just getting the rust off, it took him a whole week to do that. And speaking of San Francisco, who they lost to in week 1, and there was a lot of this. Teams that looked good in week 1 looked terrible in week 2. It's a head scratcher. But San Francisco against Pittsburgh, they went from looking like a competent football team to looking terrible. They looked awful against Pittsburgh, and you got to wonder, if that's an issue with the 49ers or if the Steelers are a team that might be a favorite to go to the Super Bowl, because that was pretty impressive what they did to San Francisco yesterday.
Yeah, Roethlisberger, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, the running back D'Angelo Williams tied a team record with 3 rushing scores for the Steelers. So a big day for Pittsburgh, winning over San Francisco, again, 43-18. Other games, you had Arizona beating Chicago, 48-23. Carolina over Houston, 24-17. They were talking smack up in Buffalo before the Patriots got there last week. So we want Brady. And Brady said, I'll be there. And they showed up, and they won 40-32. Now Rex Ryan's saying, we talked too much. Should have focused on the field and had too much trash talking going on. Patriots go in, and once again, Brady carves them up, and they leave with a big win.
Yeah, definitely so. And if there's the most hated team in the NFL, I think it's got to be the Patriots at this point. People really don't like them, but part of that, even though they're not liked, I mean, they're so good. They're like a machine. They go in, and whenever a game like this happens, whenever somebody says something about them or calls them out, or if there's adversity of any kind, it's like they just roll the sleeves up, and whatever beating they're going to put on somebody, they make it 5 times worse. And that's what happened the other day. Rex Ryan again, as he has a lot over the years, was talking about the Patriots, and then they just come in there and they give it to the Bills pretty good. So it's amazing to watch. And Tom Brady's a guy that doesn't seem to be affected by age at all. He's still the quarterback that he's always been, and that system, no matter who they plug in there around him, they seem to be able to move the football. And it's something that's just amazing to watch, to see how they're able to keep it going.
He was 38 for 59 yesterday, threw it 59 times, completed 38 for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns. You can say what you want. The old boy got her done, and he's one of the, if he's not the greatest, he's certainly one of the top 3 or 4 all-time greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Cincinnati over San Diego, 24-19. Falcons beat the Giants, 24-20. Redskins over St. Louis, 24-10. Rams beat the Seahawks and come back and lay an egg against the Redskins. So go figure. Cousins yesterday, 23 out of 27, 203 yards. So a steady game with a touchdown pass for Washington. Hey, Dave, in the NFL, if you go 23 out of 27, you've had yourself a heck of a day, and Cousins did. Redskins win at 24-10.
Yeah, and that's amazing to me. What's going on there with Gruden and with ownership. When he came in there, they obviously wanted RG3 to be the quarterback, and and Gruden just, for whatever reason, it's hard to know what's going on in there. I hope somebody writes a book one day about what's gone on the last couple of years in Washington, but he does not want RG3 to be his quarterback, and at every turn he's been trying to get Cousins in there. Now obviously they're to the point where he has Cousins as the starter, and he plays well. It'll be interesting going forward. He's pretty much, gone all in on Cousins. If it doesn't work out, he might be looking for a job at the end of the year. But, there's interesting stuff going on behind the scenes there. But, yeah, obviously against a pretty good St. Louis team, they worked yesterday. They got the win.
You got a couple more to touch base with. Jacksonville beat Miami 23-20. Also, Dallas doubles up Philadelphia 20-10. Will be a costly win. Romo with a broken collarbone is going to be out several games, and so they'll have to go with Whedon. Now, the governor, I thought it was interesting, the governor of Texas this morning is telling Jerry Jones to go get Tim Tebow as a backup. We'll see if that happens. Witten, 7 catches, 56 yards. Cowboys 2-0 to beat the Eagles 20-10. It's 28-10. And a big win for Dallas, but a costly win for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and Des Bryant already out. They've got a lot of people out on that football team, and still moving forward, winning games. Which says a lot for them. And what I think is interesting is that Dallas defense that was so bad a couple of years ago, just scored upon at will by a lot of teams, has been turned around. They've turned it into a tough unit, and they carried the offense yesterday, especially after Romo went out of that game. Just making the plays and doing what they needed to do to shut down Philadelphia and win that game. So, yeah, big win for Dallas. And moving forward, it just, remains to be seen how many losses that offense can suffer and still be able to score enough points to win games.
Talking to our buddy Dave Ongie again for the Johnson City Press. Got him for a couple of more minutes here. Undefeated teams right now in the NFL. New England's 2-0. Bengals are 2-0. Denver's 2-0. Dallas 2-0. Atlanta and Carolina out of the NFC South are 2-0. Arizona's 2-0, and Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, couple of touchdowns. They beat Seattle. Seahawks are 0-2. Green Bay wins at 27-17. Another strong performance for the Pack. So they're 2-0 right now.
Yeah, they are, and Aaron Rodgers is as good as anybody in the league. When you look at losing Jordy Nelson for the whole season the way he did, and partway through that game they lost Eddie Lacy, which is pretty much their whole running game. They lose him to an ankle injury partway through. And they just don't miss a beat. It doesn't matter who's out there. A lot of the receivers even are injured, but barely able to play. And Rodgers still can move that ball down the field against a very, very good defense in Seattle. And, that just says a lot for him, says a lot for that team. And, you got to look at the Packers as kind of an early favorite like they always are, to be able to get in the postseason and go quite a ways.
And last but certainly not least is why I've got my ball cap on today. The Raiders defeats the Baltimore Ravens 37-33. Carr takes them down the field, scores with 26 seconds to go. That's not the Raiders of old, so this may, or in the past here, in the recent past, maybe a sign of good things to come. Raiders are 1-1 heading to Cleveland on Sunday, and again, they found a way to win. Normally they lay an egg in this kind of situation, but credit Derek Carr, and the Raiders got a big win against the Baltimore Raven team that, so say what you want. Ravens are 0-2, but the Raiders got to win. And, hey, when you're 3-13 last year, any win's a good win. And I thought that was a nice win with the Raiders yesterday.
Who was that told you about the light at the end of the tunnel? I believe somebody told you about that, about there being some light, and definitely so. They've got a really good quarterback, and, they've got a lot of weapons around him and able to go out there and outscore a really good Baltimore team. When you're able to outduel Joe Flacco the way he did, you got to say a lot for that. And now people last year would have looked at that Oakland and Cleveland game and said, man, I hope that's not on in our coverage area. I hope we don't have to sit through that, for our game of the week there on CBS. But now it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to want to watch, because you've got Manziel and he's going up against the Raiders. And that's going to be something. That's a lot of attitude in one place there. It's going to be fun to see what happens in that game.
You got a last one to touch on tonight, Monday Night Football. The Jets will be in Indianapolis to battle the Colts. Who do you like there?
Well, this will be an interesting game. I think when you look at the Colts, everybody was really surprised with how bad they looked against Buffalo, in week one, and they had a lot of trouble against the Bills. And, everybody thought, well, maybe it's just because the Bills' defense is so good. Then they go give up 500-some yards to New England yesterday. So tonight's going to be kind of a night to see where the Colts' offense is at and where Andrew Luck's at and how it all comes together for him. They've lost some players. They have some players back, but there might be a chemistry issue with how they're working on that offensive side of the football. And the Jets as a team, I don't know if anybody's expecting too much out of them. So it's going to be a big night for the Colts to have to kind of show where they're at. And I kind of expect Luck to have a really good bounce-back game here. I think he's probably mad about what happened last week. And I'd expect the Colts probably to score a lot of points and win this one.
Great segment, my friend. We cover a lot of things. The National Football League, NASCAR, college football, Science Hill football, and, of course, the NFL right there. And so we got it all covered. You're feeling better. You can tell it in your voice. It's good to have you back full throttle. And thank you so much for your time. And I guess I'll see you Friday night out at Gray as you're covering Daniel Boone. We're covering Daniel Boone and the Science Hill game. So I'll see you out there Friday night.
Absolutely. There's free pizza in the press box, so I'll be there early, and I'm sure you will be too. So I'll see you up there.
So I'll meet you hanging over top of the pizza. That's what we'll be. Oh, that's where we'll meet. And give us a slab of pizza.
Will.
There you go. Hey, great job, my friend. Thank you.
All right, good deal. I'll see you then. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That guy is super right there now. He is dynamite. I'm so lucky to have him on the show. Again, our buddy Dave Ongie from the Johnson City Press. Thank you, my friend. We covered a lot of topics here on the Tom Taylor Sports Show on this Monday morning. With you for a little while longer. Again, we're going to break away, have an abbreviated show today so I can go attend a funeral of a dear friend. And so we'll be back tomorrow on the full throttle, ready to go. But we're not done yet. We got a little bit longer here. Let's go right back to the phone. Let's get my man on. About time for the quiz show. See what he allows here. Again on this Monday morning, our boy the Gator, or our boy the man, the Gator man. Let's see what he's got to. One ringy-dingy.
Hello?
There he is, our buddy the Gator man. Good.
Two ring-a-dingies.
Two ringy-dingies. Good morning, sir. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be twins.
There you go. So, all right, before we get into matters at hand, your Gators will take on the Volunteers on Saturday in the Swamp. What do you think after their game up in Kentucky? What's your take on your beloved Florida Gators now?
I think we got some fight in us. That just proves that when hard times come, we fight through and come out on top.
All right. Pretty good defense. I will give you. I don't know about the offense. It may be a little shaky, but
we're struggling on offense.
But their defense is stout, and I think the question. I think Dave said it best. The winner, if Florida can stop Tennessee's run game, Florida wins. If Tennessee can run it effectively against Florida, then I think that's going to give the Volunteers a chance to win the ball game. So.
Well, the teams that have run it in the past have been the ones that won it.
Yeah. Yeah, get back to it. You can say what you want. I think your bread and butter, your run sets up the pass. A lot of folks say, well, the pass sets up the run. But I think when you get right down to it, the old basic true football guys will tell you your run sets up your pass. And so if Tennessee can run it, that'll open up the running game. And if Florida slams the door shut, that'll force them to pass, and it'll be advantage Florida. But and again, Florida's offense is I wouldn't say it's anemic, but it's not real strong. But the defense lights out against a pretty good Kentucky team. And you say – pretty good Kentucky team. Hey, they're not bad. They're getting pretty good. They're getting better.
They are. Yeah. And we got some running backs on. We got three running backs I'd put up against just about anybody.
I figured if I kept talking long enough, I'd get a little blowback there from my man. Here we go. It's time for the quiz show. Let's get it rolling and hit that music. And here we go. Oh boy! All right, Gator Man's got the quiz show for us today. He calls it trivia domination now. So, all right, let's go. What are the topics, by the way?
Well, let's see. We got baseball, Olympics, football. That's it. Baseball, football, and Olympics.
All right. Here we go. Question number one. If I go 5 for 5, then I've got somebody I'm playing for. So go ahead.
Okay. The New York Yankees played the youngest person to ever play in the major leagues. He pitched in the major leagues at 15 years old. 10 months and 11 days, true or false?
I know the Reds had Joe Nuxall on there. I'm going to say that's false. I think Nuxall has been the youngest player ever to pitch in the big leagues.
You are correct. That's who it was, 1944.
There you go. Hit it. All right, I'm off and running, 1 for 1. All right, number 2.
That's where your Reds history comes in played, isn't it?
There you go.
Okay. Women were first allowed to compete in the Olympics for the first time in 1932.
1932, the Olympics. It was Babe Didrikson-Saharis. It was either 32 or 36. 1932, 1936. I'm going to say, you're saying 1932, correct?
Correct.
I would say that is true.
Oh, that's false.
Good. All righty. Okay.
Believe it or not, it was 1900.
1900. All right. So I'm 1 for 2. Continue on, my friend. Stupid question, but go ahead. All right.
Okay, Wrigley Field is the oldest active Major League stadium.
Oh, boy. Wrigley Field versus Fenway Park, the oldest active Major League stadium, Wrigley Field. I'm going to say it's Fenway.
You are correct.
There you go. All right. Hit that correct answer. Here we go. Hit it. All righty. 2 for 3.
Fenway is 2 years older than Wrigley Field.
Yeah. I knew it was close. All right. Number 4.
Okay, Paul Hornung scored the first touchdown in Super Bowl history.
Oh, gosh. I should know this. Paul Hornung scored the first touchdown in Super Bowl history. Packers were in it, but did he do it? I'm going to say that is Paul Hornung. Was it Paul Hornung? Was it Bart Starr? Paul Hornung scored the first touchdown ever in Super Bowl history. I'm going to say that is false.
You are correct. It was Max McGee.
There you go. Hit it, big guy. All righty. I'm 3 for 4. Can I finish strong here?
Okay. Troy Aikman played for 2 college football teams. True or false?
Troy Aikman played for 2 college football teams. I don't know who he played for either one of them. So, Troy Aikman played for 2 college football teams. I say it's true.
That's correct.
All righty.
He played for Oklahoma and then UCLA.
Really? I had no clue. Didn't know
Broke
he
his
was.
ankle at Oklahoma, and they went back to the wishbone, and he says, I don't want any part of that.
Wow. And went to where? Southern.
He went to UCLA.
Oh, UCLA. All right. So the one I missed was what? That
women
stupid
in
women's Olympics question. Thanks, Gator. That's really nice. All right. Tell me what's the latest on the Dylan Miles. What's going on there with the National Football Foundation?
Well, he's one of the top 40 in the country. So we're hoping that turns out to be the top 8. If he gets into the top 8, he'll get to go to New York City. And I don't know what the date is. That has slipped my mind when they narrow it down to that.
All right, so explain for folks out there going, okay, what are you talking about? Tell me about Dylan Miles. Tell me about the whole background of where he is and how he's got to that point.
Okay, the National Football Foundation does a national scholarship. There's 1,200 chapters across the country. Everybody submits a player and narrows it down, and he has made it into the regionals, which the next one is the finals. They do it's on athletics, academics, and community. So he's a fine young man that's going far.
Yes, he is. He's in West Virginia Wesleyan, is he not?
West Virginia Wesleyan, yes.
Yeah.
That's the only you have to be playing college football to get it.
There you go.
Because we had a boy that he won. Actually, we had 2 that tied for first but neither one of them played college ball. So.
All right, so Dylan Miles in the running. He's still not knocked out yet. He's down to how many?
If I'm not mistaken, it's down to 40 now.
Down to 40. All right, find out for me. Let me know. Of course, you're closed today, right? You're fluffing and folding?
I'm closed today. I'm recuperating from the Idiot Cup yesterday.
The Idiot Cup. Now, what is that?
Me and a couple of friends, we get together once a year and play golf for the Idiot Cup.
Right.
And the Idiot Cup stands for Independence Day Invitational Official Tournament. But since we're idiots, we never played on Independence Day.
There you go. So this is the Idiot Cup. So who won it?
I won it. I'm the 3-time idiot. We've done it for 6 years now, or 5 years. And it's just a way for good friends to get together that don't get to see each other.
And have fun and play for the Idiot Cup.
Play for the Idiot Cup.
Now, what is the Idiot? Is it a trophy? Is it a Styrofoam Cup? What is the award?
It is an actual trophy that I do have in the shop. It'll be in the engravers today getting my name put on it, but it's in the shop.
There you go, the Idiot Cup. So you are the 3-time winner of the Idiot Cup, right?
I'm a 3-time idiot.
There you go. How many times you played? 3?
5.
5. So you're 3 out of 5 times you have won the Idiot Cup. So there you go. I can't top that. I'm not even going to try to. That's good stuff there. So
it's just a way to celebrate with friends.
There you go, and that's what it's all about, hanging out with friends. I appreciate you being my friend, Gator. Enjoy the rest of your day off. We'll talk more about you tomorrow when you get back at it, all right?
All right, have a good one.
Yes, sir. Good man right there, our buddy Gator from the Cherokee Barbershop. Again, closed today, open Tuesday through Saturday when the barber pole's out, the Gator Man is in, and he does a great job, and we appreciate him so very, very much. We'll come back with our final segment, and we'll step away and get ready to head out. Given an abbreviated show, we have to go to a funeral today, so we will do that, and we'll come right back, and we'll take care of business with our buddy Tim Smith from American Import and Auto Repair, one of our great sponsors, and come back and wrap up our abbreviated or shortened show today right after this here on the Tom Taylor Sports Show.
At American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Well, you would think that AC would be a simple one, but it's getting to be a lot bigger than just AC. It's the management of the system, not just AC, but heat and everything. It's a lot more computer controlled than it used to be. It used to be just a little button on the dash that you pushed. Now there's all kinds of electronics involved in that. Braking systems used to be fairly simple. Now some of the newer vehicles, you have to have a computer to actually operate the braking system to make sure that it's okay after you've worked on it. Computer controlled of the engine is becoming very important. There's a lot to that. Each one of these areas, the technology has just tripled and quadrupled in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. You really need to stay in the books and know what's going on with them.
American Import and Auto Repair, Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
It's Friday night at 7 o'clock. You've been involved in a car accident. You may be out of state on vacation or just a few miles from home. What do you do? Who do you call? At Farmers Insurance Group, one call is all you have to make. Hello, this is Jim Klein, an agent with Farmers Insurance. It's called One and Done. You don't have to wait till Monday morning to file a claim. You can make the initial call, and we'll begin right away to help you. We assist you in moving the vehicle to a certified repair shop, getting you set up with rental car, and informing your agent. Then here at the staff at Jim Klein Farmers Insurance, we follow the claim through to the end. It's that easy. One and Done. We're your one and done location for all your insurance needs. Auto, home, life, commercial, workers' comp, and bonds. We can help you with all your insurance needs. Give me a call today, Jim Klein Farmers Insurance at 247-5400, your one and done location in Kingsport, 247-5400.
Trucks, 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 and more trucks. At Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, we have Silverado trucks everywhere with discounts up to $11,000 off MSRP on select Silverado All-Star Crew Cabs. 15 Spark, $10,995. 15 Sonic, $12,995. 15 Track, $17,995. 15 Equinox, $20,995. Shop us online 24/7 and don't forget our Saturday service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where they leave you asking, how do they do that?
Blue Lizard Australian sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
Back on the Tom Taylor Sports Show again on this Monday. Thanks for being with us. Going to wrap it up here. We've got to step aside and take off, and as we said, go to a funeral, and we'll be back tomorrow. And it's in its entirety. We'll do that again from 11 until 2 tomorrow. Volleyball real quick. We got Science Hill again. Science Hill at Sullivan South tonight. Crockett plays at Chucky Doak. Daniel Boone hosting South Green. Tennessee High, they're the best right now in AAA in this area. Tennessee High hosting Volunteer tonight, and Sullivan Central is at Johnson County in volleyball. Soccer tonight, Crockett at Science Hill, Volunteer at Dobbins Minute. You have Boone at Sullivan Central and Sullivan South at Elizabeth, and that is soccer for tonight. Golf happening today, the Region 1 AAA Championships. Again, Patriots Hill Golf Club in Dandridge, Tennessee, and that is going on as we speak. We'll let you know who did well in the Regional Golf Championship being played today, now in Dandridge at Jefferson County High School. Before we go, let's check baseball real quick. Let's bring you up to speed there. Baseball from yesterday, Boston, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Minnesota, Houston, Seattle, and the Yankees all win. In the National League, you've got, guess what, Reds got beat again. That's a shocker. Washington, Atlanta, Milwaukee, the Cardinals, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, San Diego, and the Yankees all get wins. Pennant races, don't look now, it's tightening up again. Toronto, New York, Yankees only 2.5 back as the Yankees open up a set in Toronto tonight. That'll be happening again in Canada, the 7:07 first pitch. Kansas City by 11 in the Central, it's theirs. And Texas and Houston still duking it out. Texas and Houston, that is a 1.5 game lead for the Rangers over the Astros in the American League West. In the National League, Mets 6 better than Washington in the East. Cardinals, first team to clinch a playoff berth. They did it. They lead the Pirates by 4 in the Central, and the Dodgers 7.5 better than San Francisco in the West. Schedule tonight and today, you go as follows. Let's see. You have, in the National League, Baltimore at Washington, Atlanta at New York, Milwaukee at Chicago, Cincinnati travels to St. Louis. The Pirates will be in Colorado and Arizona against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. In the American League tonight, Chicago at Detroit. Again, Daniel Norris is not pitching tonight for Detroit. Should be tomorrow night, I would think. Baltimore at Washington, Yankees at Toronto, White Sox at Detroit, Tampa Bay at Boston, and the Angels will be in Houston to battle the Astronomicals. So, again, Monday Night Football, we got the Jets in Indianapolis to battle the Colts, and that'll do it for here. We got to get going and move on out of here. We certainly appreciate your understanding because we've got to do what we got to do, and that would be head off to this funeral and pay our respects. So back in the saddle tomorrow. We are out of time. We sincerely thank you for yours. And we'll reconvene tomorrow for a full show in its entirety, of course, beginning at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Everything we do is at TomTaylorSports.com. The Stacey Carter Coaches Show, the Graham Clark Coaches Show, and the Sean Whitten Coaches Show. All three with a brand new show Wednesday at noon. Just go to TomTaylorSports.com, and there we be. This show's there as well, and also our Science O audio cast. And we've got one Friday night on the road at Daniel Boone. So for our guest, Bob from Book Lovers Warehouse, and also for Dave Ongie from the Johnson City Press, and the Gator Man from Cherokee Barbershop, went 4 for 5 on the quiz show. I did. This is Tom Taylor again telling you, as always, win or lose, be a good sport. Pick back up tomorrow in its entirety at 11 o'clock. Until then, have a great Monday, and thanks for giving us a watch and a listen to the Tom Taylor Sports Show. So long, everybody.